Commander Zethkar stood on the bridge of the flagship Vorthan's Pride, his 6 arms crossed in satisfaction as he gazed at the holographic display showing Earth's solar system. The blue-green planet hung there like a ripe fruit, waiting to be plucked. Behind him, the massive Krillian armada stretched across space, 3,000 vessels of various classes, each one a testament to their empire's technological superiority. "Scan complete, Commander," reported his tactical officer, her voice crackling through the universal translator. "The humans possess primitive fusion drives and chemical rockets. Their largest vessels are barely 200 meters in length. This will be a swift conquest." Zethkar's mandibles clicked in what passed for laughter among his species. The Krillians had conquered 17 star systems in the past century, each one falling within days to their overwhelming firepower and advanced shield technology. Earth would be no different, perhaps easier, given humanity's apparent technological inferiority. "Deploy the first wave," he commanded. 1,000 ships should suffice. We'll save the rest for the celebration. The lead ships began their descent toward Earth, their hulls gleaming silver against the starfield. Each vessel was a kilometer long, armed with plasma cannons that could melt through planetary crust and protected by energy shields that had never been breached in combat. The human settlements on their moon and Mars had already gone silent, presumably in terror at the sight of the approaching fleet. But as the Krillian ships entered Earth's outer orbital zone, something unexpected appeared on their sensors. Massive shapes were emerging from behind the planet's moon, shapes that dwarfed even the largest Krillian battleships. "Commander," the tactical officer's voice carried a note of uncertainty. "We're detecting significant mass signatures approaching from lunar orbit." The main display flickered and resolved into a view that made Zethkar's 3 hearts skip a beat. Rising from behind Earth's moon came ships that defied comprehension. The smallest among them was 5 kilometers long, bristling with weapon systems that seemed to cover every square meter of their dark, angular hulls. The largest stretched 20 kilometers from bow to stern, their surfaces alive with energy conduits and launch bays that could house entire fleets. "Impossible," Zethkar whispered. The scans showed primitive technology. "Sir, we're receiving a transmission," the communications officer announced, her voice trembling slightly. "Put it through." The display filled with the image of a human female, her dark uniform bearing insignia that spoke of high rank. Behind her, the bridge of her vessel hummed with activity, screens showing tactical data that made Zethkar realize just how thoroughly they had been outmaneuvered. "This is Admiral Sarah Chen of the United Earth Defense Force," the human said calmly. "You are trespassing in human space. You have exactly 60 seconds to begin your withdrawal, or we will consider your presence an act of war." Zethkar's surprise gave way to indignation. "You dare threaten us? We are the Krillian Empire. We have conquered worlds across the galaxy." Admiral Chen's expression didn't change. 50 seconds. "Open fire." Zethkar roared. "Show these primitives the might of our fleet." The first wave of Krillian ships unleashed their plasma cannons, streams of superheated energy racing toward the human vessels. Zethkar watched with satisfaction, expecting to see the enemy ships vaporized instantly. Instead, the plasma beams struck what appeared to be empty space around the human ships and simply dissipated. The massive warships continued their advance, completely unharmed. "Shield impact detected," the tactical officer reported in confusion. "But their technology readings show." She never finished the sentence. The human fleet opened fire. What emerged from the human vessels wasn't plasma or energy beams, but something far more terrifying. Solid projectiles the size of small buildings erupted from magnetic launchers, moving at significant fractions of light speed. The kinetic energy alone was staggering, but these weren't simple metal slugs. As they struck the Krillian ships, they revealed their true nature. Each projectile contained a miniature antimatter warhead. The first wave of the Krillian fleet simply ceased to exist. 300 ships, each one a technological marvel that had taken decades to build, were reduced to expanding clouds of plasma in seconds. "Impossible." Zethkar stumbled backward as his ship shook from the shockwave. How do they possess such weapons while showing primitive drive signatures? His answer came in the form of another transmission. This time, the human admiral was flanked by officers whose faces showed grim determination. Did you really think, Admiral Chen said, that a species capable of interstellar travel would reveal their true military capabilities to unknown visitors? What you detected were our civilian transport ships. These are our warships. The display shifted to show tactical data that made Zethkar's blood freeze. The human vessels weren't just large, they were mobile weapons platforms designed for one purpose, the total annihilation of enemy fleets. Their hulls were composed of materials that shouldn't exist, their power sources generated energies that rivaled small stars, and their weapons fusion-triggered antimatter torpedoes, the Admiral continued conversationally. Relativistic kill vehicles. Quantum entanglement disruptors. Gravity well generators. We've had 3 centuries to prepare for this day, ever since our deep space monitors detected your Empire's expansion pattern. The second wave of human weapons fire lanced out, and this time Zethkar could see the technology at work. Space itself seemed to bend around some of the projectiles, while others simply vanished and reappeared. Inside Krillian ships, bypassing shields entirely. The antimatter detonations created brief, artificial suns that consumed everything within their reach. 800 more Krillian ships died in that second volley. All ships, retreat. Zethkar commanded, his voice cracking with panic. Full withdrawal. But as his remaining fleet tried to turn and flee, they discovered another horrifying truth about human warfare. The space around them had been seeded with what Admiral Chen's tactical display labeled as quantum mines, devices that created localized space-time distortions, trapping ships in gravitational wells that prevented faster-than-light travel. The Krillian Empire, Admiral Chen's voice continued over the communications channel, has exactly one opportunity to avoid complete extinction. You will return to your home worlds, and you will never again venture into human space. Any Krillian vessel detected in our territory will be destroyed without warning. The display showed the final human weapons coming online, devices that Zethkar's instruments couldn't even classify, their energy signatures off the scale of known physics. This is impossible, he whispered again, watching his mighty fleet reduced to scattered survivors trapped in an invisible cage. Commander, his tactical officer said quietly, I'm reading massive industrial signatures throughout their system. Orbital shipyards, asteroid mining operations, fusion reactors. Sir, I don't think this is their military fleet. What? The energy signatures suggest, these might be their patrol vessels. Sir, I'm detecting construction yards building ships 50 kilometers long. Zethkar closed all 6 of his eyes and transmitted the unconditional surrender of the Krillian Empire. As the surviving alien ships began their long journey home,